So the offering message, this is my favorite one to give today. So the word that God shared with me is first fruit or leftovers. Okay, so we all know brakisaki. So this is the message for the offering this morning. The Lord shared with us that we must teach on finances. So the offering messages are normally a teaching that shifts your mind about finances so that we can get our gears straight and we can know what is in God's heart about finances. So first fruit or leftovers. From Proverbs 3 verse 9 we see, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruits of your crops or your income. Then your barns will be abundantly filled and your vats will overflow with new wine. Now, I looked at a couple example or definitions of honor. So to seek, enhance the reputation of someone, to celebrate, to show great respect for someone or something, and to give someone public praise or reward. And then I asked the Lord, what is his definition of honor? And this one is my favorite. So he said, honor is to recognize what is in someone and to respond with love. And I want to give you this challenge that the Lord has given me many years ago and that I'm still doing to this day. Often it's a ritual that I do regularly. And that is to ask the Lord, please show me, how do you see someone, whoever it is, whether it's my husband, whether it's our boy, whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's people that we work with. But I ask him, show me, how do you see them? Because we've got a view of someone. We have our own perception and we kind of judge them in our head according to what we know and what we've seen and who we are. That's the scary thing. Our perception influences how we see people around us. But when we ask the Lord, how does he see that person? Everything changes. So I started this one day. I don't know about what, but I was angry with Isaac about something. And I asked the Lord, and he said to me, ask me how I see him. And I'm like, oh, at this point, really? And I asked the Lord how he sees him. And oh my word, what came out there? At some point, I asked the Lord, can we just check ID numbers? I just want to make sure that we're busy discussing the right person here. And that changed my marriage. It saved my marriage. It changed my perspective. And it helped me to see that person the way God sees them. So I want to challenge you with this, is to ask the Lord how he sees someone. Now, the opposite of honor is pride and self-righteousness. It is when you say, I know better. You're not as big as you think you are, or you don't get this, or you're not really that great. That is the opposite of honor. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can honor. We can honor with words. I found this picture of a wedding speech being given by the bride to her groom, which I think is beautiful. So we can say, I honor you for who you are and this and that. We can honor with actions. One of the most beautiful characteristics of our almost 5-year-old is he regularly, without someone having to tell him, or he just brings me flowers. He just picks a little flower and he brings it to me. And it's beautiful. No one taught him that. It's just something that bubbles from his heart, and I love it. And then the flower needs to be put in water immediately, otherwise it's going to die, and that's a whole big thing. But we can honor with our actions. We can honor with gifts that we can give someone, whether it's big or small, pricey or not, just a gift, a thoughtful something that you thought of, this person would like this. We can honor by serving, and I put a male doing the dishes. Okay, fine, next one. We can honor with time. And this was beautiful, and it's an honor to have my mom here for a little while still. She's almost going back. But to have a grandparent that just spends time, or just to give your time to someone, your undivided attention. And that's the gift that we give on a Wednesday. And if you want to join us for that, the invitation is open. You're welcome. It's from 10 to 11 at Bardelino every second Wednesday. Just chat with us if you just want to make sure if we were here this week or not. But with your time. And that's a gift that is very costly and very pricey. We can honor by walking together after a conflict. And we can honor by not running when you do not understand. We can honor by choosing to honor instead of to fight. Exodus 20 verse 12 says, honor, and then they give a bit of a definition. Respect, obey, care for your father and your mother, so that your days may be prolonged in the land that the Lord gives you. So this morning, I would like to honor my mom and say, Mom, thank you for everything that you've been to me. I would like to honor my other mom and say thank you for the devotion that you're giving to us, especially in this time. And I want to honor my dad. Thank you for your heart that you have for what we're busy doing. And the Lord says, now I'm going to live long. Yes. Just kidding. Well, it's what the word says, but that's how simple honor is. It doesn't have to be something dragged out or difficult. It's just honoring and saying, I see something in you, and I call that out. Now, honoring your parent leads to a long life, and some may interpret that this entails healing or divine health. It would make sense. I mean, because if you want to live long, you need to be healed from whatever sickness you have along the road. Now, in Genesis 35, I'm going to get to a point just now. Just hold on to your seat. In Genesis 35, verse 28, we read that Isaac lived 180 years. That's quite long. 180 years. I'm 36 at the moment, so 180 seems a distance to go. Now let's look at how Isaac honored his father specifically. And I want to bring us back to the concept of today, whether it's first fruit, speaking about finances, or whether it's leftover. And let's see what Isaac did. In Genesis 22, verse 6, then Abram took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on the shoulders of Isaac his son. And he took the fire pot in his own hand, and the sacrificial knife, and the two of them walked on together. So Isaac honored by serving. That wood to make a whole burnt offering must have been a lot, and it's quite heavy. So he honored by serving. And Isaac said to Abram, my father. And he said, here I am, my son. And Isaac said, look, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb choppie? Dit wat ons gaan braai, where is the lamb for the burnt offering? He honored with words, soft words, not, you're crazy, you don't know what you're doing, there's nothing here to offer. He honored with soft words. Abram said, my son, God will provide for himself a lamb for the burnt offering. So the two walked on together. He honored by walking on together after that conflict. It was, I don't understand what you're doing, you're missing the point, you're not doing what I think you should be doing. But after that point, they walked on together. When they came to the place of which the God told him, Abram built an altar there and arranged the wood and bound Isaac his son on the place of the altar, on top of the wood. Isaac honored by not running when he did not understand. Now he was bound on that altar. I mean, he must have thought, I wanted to know what went through his mind. Everyone jokes about what went through Abram's mind because he was a teenager and it was easy for him to say, okay, well, there you go. But what went through Isaac's mind? I mean, here he is. Offertjie, skaap choppie op die kole. But he didn't run when he didn't understand. Abram reached out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. Isaac honored by choosing to honor instead of fighting. I imagine him squirming a bit and then realizing, okay, this is it. I can see Scarpy. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abram, Abram. And he answered, here I am. Now, when we honor, we hear the voice of God, even through that simple exercise that I've shared by asking God, how do you see this person? And last week's message that I had the privilege to bring was Conversations with God. And we spoke about hearing his voice and specifically with honor. Genesis 12:21, the Lord said, do not reach out with the knife in your hand against the boy and do nothing to harm him. For now I know that you fear God with reverence and profound respect, since you have not withheld me, your son, your only son of promise. And that sounds like honor. That sounds like profound respect, and God sees it because obedience is equal to honor. When we are obedient, we honor God by doing what he said. And that sounds very familiar. You have not withheld me, your most valuable possession. And these are the words of God towards Abram. And that's exactly what he did. God did not withhold his most precious possession, his only son that he gave. He did not give us the leftovers. So do not hold out on God. Do not just have this little, whatever is left, didn't really want to eat that, so didn't really want to use that, so I'll just give that to God. Genesis 22:13 says, then Abram looked up and glanced around and behold, behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abram went and took the ram and offered it up for a burnt offering, a sending sacrifice instead of his son. And so Abram named that place, "The Lord will provide." And to this day it is said, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be seen and provided." When we honor God, He will provide. There's no doubt. The moment we honor Him, He comes to the party. Proverbs 3 verse 9 says, "Honor the Lord," the verse we started with your wealth and with the first fruits of all of your crops, your income. Now I just looked a bit at this word, first fruits, and there's the original text there, but the Strong's Concordance says Reshith. It means beginning or chief. And the picture that I get from that is, here you've made a lovely meal, and the first fruit that you take out, it's giving the best in the beginning in faith, believing that God will provide. It's not waiting to see what's left over. It's taking that beautiful meal and saying, this part, the first fruit, I give to God and I honor Him. Often we say, God, you've taken care of me in the past, so I trust you and I'm giving you the first fruit to you in the beginning as a demonstration of my faith that you will provide for me. This is the heart that we should have, is, Lord, I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it in the beginning because you've shown me that you are good. Often we honor God with our leftovers, the scraps that you didn't really want. I'll pay all my bills, and once I've got something left, and if there's something left, I will give you a tip for whatever I think you're worth. But that's not honoring. That's just giving the little scrap of what's left. God is saying, I dare you to honor me with your first fruit. I dare you. I dare you to step out in faith and to honor me in the beginning with the beautiful meal. Everything laid out, including your finances, your time, your conversations, everything of your life, to honor Him with that part, instead of waiting to see whether there is something left or not. We can honor God with our lips. We can say, God, I honor you for who you are. But our heart needs to be close to Him. And on the kids camp, it's like this beautiful message of that God is our BFF, our best friend forever, with the two hearts and the closing of the necklace. And this is Matthew 15 verse 8. These people draw near me with their mouths and honor me with their lips, but their hearts hold off and are far away from me. So rather come close, and this is my ending. Proverbs 3:5 says, lean on, trust in, and be confident in the Lord with all of your heart and mind, and do not rely on your own insight or understanding. That's honoring. In all of your ways, know, recognize, acknowledge Him, and He will direct and make straight your paths. That's honoring. Be not wise in your own eyes. Reverently fear and worship the Lord, and turn entirely away from evil. That is honoring. And then, Proverbs 3 verse 8. It shall be health to your nerves and sinews, and marrow and moistening to your bones. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all of your crops and income. Then your barns will be abundantly filled, and your vats will overflow with new wine. And my heart this morning with the offering message is that you make a decision and say, I'm not going to just give the leftover. I'm not going to just see what is left after I've done whatever I wanted to do. I'm going to honor God with my first fruits and say, Lord, I not just with my words, but with my actions and with my deeds, I sow into what I believe is on your heart. And this ministry, Living Victory Church, we believe and are certain of, is on God's heart. He would not have uprooted us from Gauteng and sent us here if it wasn't. So if you want to sow into a ministry, this is a good one to sow into. Our heart is to honor God with what we do. Be blessed.